Basically, now we're entering the academic building, and the pictures you see along these walls are some of the alumni were awarded the Alumni of Distinction Awards. Some of the notable alumni are Robert Benmosche, chairman of the board of AIG, really a financial genius that helped the United States in overcoming some financial problems in the past. John Barnes from Barnes & Noble. And then we have, with the class of 1964, we have our President Trump.
So how was Mr. Trump as a cadet here?
He entered school in the 8th grade. And as I understand it, he was a bit of a discipline problem when he first showed up at school, which was remedied by some of the tactical officers at the time. And as you learn personal discipline from the tactical officers and your peers at school, you basically fell into a military environment and you responded. As I mentioned, the school was extremely competitive. You competed between the companies, which were A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and we also had the band. And then there was also another company that was senior staff. And as a senior cadet, Donald was on senior staff as one of the captains. He was captain of operations. There was one other cadet who was above him, which was the first captain. But then there was another level of captains for operations, supply, logistics. But overall, he was a very good cadet. He was very accomplished, and he really responded to the military environment. And probably the most thing he responded to was the competitiveness of it. He was allowed to display his talents and do very, very well at school. He was a good student. He was good athletically, played quite a few sports, but excelled probably in baseball. He was an exceptional baseball player who, as I understand, could have played for the Yankees or professionally. One of his peers, who was a classmate of his, was a catcher on the baseball team, and Donald occasionally pitched. And as they say in baseball, he had a lot of heat. And after a while, Ted's hand was about worn out. But he also competed in football, soccer, golf, wrestling as a younger cadet. And he was accomplished in all of them. I don't know how many varsity letters he was awarded, but he definitely got one in baseball. And occasionally we'd stop. I was on the track team, and we'd stop and watch some of the games and some of the practice. And you could see that when somebody as talented in baseball as Donald was playing or showed up to bat, everybody stopped and watched, because it was, you knew he was good and he would do his best.
So what's the relationship between you and Mr. Trump when you were here at school?
When I came as a freshman, my first year, I was considered a new guy or a plebe. Donald was a junior academically, and he was my supply sergeant in Company E. He had responsibilities to maintain an inventory and cleanliness and order of the M1 rifles that we used with parades. They were non-functional M1s, but he was one of the ones that was responsible for discipline of cadets that were under him, disciplining new cadets like myself. There was a tremendous amount of information that you had to learn as a new cadet, just to basically learn everything militarily, like general orders, responsibilities, chain of command. And Donald was one of the ones that was instrumental in that. One of the things about Donald, being under Donald or having him ask you to do something, he had a knack that you just didn't want to disappoint him. You wanted to do the best job possible. And that was probably, overall, that was the tone of school. And I say it was very disciplined, but sure, there was military discipline. And if you did something wrong, there were repercussions. But one of the things you really learned at school was personal discipline. I've been very active with my graduating class, and we just recently had a reunion. And people relayed stories to me about Donald that he interceded with one of the younger cadets who was having a real tough time. And that cadet basically based his success on Donald stepping in and saying, well, let's hold off a little on this guy and let's move him back into junior high school for a while. And he did it, and this guy's a very successful doctor of psychology in Florida right now. And I speak to him on a regular basis. He was actually in my class, and we were new guys together, and it was tough. It was very competitive. And there was a lot of bullying, which you would consider bullying now. And some cadets took it to the extreme, but you never saw that with Donald. He was well-mannered. He was, he was quiet. He was and occasionally on weekends when our parents would take us out, his parents would come up and, we'd have dinner at the same restaurant. There still are some good restaurants in the area, and I'm sure they're frequented by the cadets. There's a pizza parlor that probably based its success just on the cadets over the last 30, 40, 50 years. But he had the respect of other people. And those people, I believe he earned the respect because he always did a good job. You could count on him.
はい、OK です。